For many years, the Mac Mini was treated almost like a side note in Apple's product lineup. It was the small box that quietly did its job while the spotlight fell on the iMac's colors, the MacBook Pro's sleekness, and the Mac Pro's towering presence. The Mini was reliable but never glamorous. It wasn't a machine people gathered around to talk about. It just existed, useful, affordable, and understated. But 2025 has flipped that perception completely. The Mac Mini M5 isn't standing in the background anymore. This time, it's walking onto center stage. Apple has injected it with so much power and polish that it feels like a different class of machine. Suddenly, people are excited about the Mini again, and for good reason. At the heart of this transformation is the M5 chip. Apple didn't hold back. They gave this little box their most advanced silicon yet. Benchmarks show the CPU running nearly half again, as fast as the M3, with the GPU jumping more than 60% in performance. Those aren't just technical numbers. They're numbers you can feel. The difference shows up in the way the Mini responds. From the second you press the power button, take video editing, for example. Exports that used to drag on for hours now wrap up in minutes. Developers compiling huge codebases notice builds finishing almost twice as fast. Digital artists working with complex layers and effects see their tools respond instantly instead of stuttering. The M5 isn't delivering incremental gains, it's delivering a new tier of speed. Apple achieved this leap by packing billions more transistors into its architecture, making the chip not only faster but also cooler and more efficient. What this means in practice is consistent power. You can push the Mini with 3D renders, AI workloads, or 8K video edits, and it stays steady. No thermal throttling. No sudden drops in speed. Just sustained, rock-solid performance session after session, and while raw power is a headline feature, intelligence is the other half of the story. The new neural engine has been rebuilt from the ground up, and it completely changes daily workflows. AI-assisted features that once required the cloud now happen in real time, right on the device. Audio can be transcribed as you speak. Photos can be retouched instantly. Filters apply without delay. For creatives, this removes friction. For professionals, it saves hours. For anyone multitasking, it feels like magic. Design-wise, Apple hasn't abandoned the familiar form. The Mini is still that compact square of aluminum, but details have been refined. The finish is softer yet more precise. Corners feel sharper, and the overall look is cleaner. A glowing Apple logo now sits on top, not loud, but enough to signal its new identity. Internally, the cooling system has been re-engineered to manage airflow more efficiently. Instead of a loud roar, the Mini breathes quietly, even when under maximum stress. That quietness is part of what makes using the Mini so pleasant. Imagine being in a creative studio, a classroom, or a shared office, no distracting fan noise, no machine heating up the desk, just smooth, silent power at your fingertips. Apple designed it for performance, but they also designed it to disappear into the background when it comes to noise. Everyday usage highlights the biggest change. Open multiple creative apps, juggle dozens of browser tabs, run a heavy video call, and stream high-resolution content all at once. The M5 Mac Mini doesn't stutter, it doesn't slow. The system remains fluid, giving you the sense that nothing is out of reach. Once you experience that responsiveness, going back to older, hardware feels unbearable. Connectivity has been elevated too. The Mac Mini M5 comes loaded with Thunderbolt 5 ports for ultra-fast transfers, USB-A for older accessories, HDMI 2.2 to support crisp 8K displays, and even a 10 gig Ethernet option for those who demand cutting-edge networking. Wireless technology has moved up as well. Wi-Fi 7 ensures stability in crowded environments, while Bluetooth 5.4 improves reliability with peripherals. In short, the Mini doesn't force compromises. It adapts to any setup you throw at it. Memory and storage follow the same philosophy. The base configuration ships with 16 gigabytes of unified memory, already enough for many workflows, but it can be expanded up to 64 gigabytes for professionals. Storage starts at 512 gigabytes and goes all the way to 8 terabytes, and these aren't just big numbers. The SSDs themselves are dramatically quicker, with up to 50% faster read and write speeds than the last generation. That means files open instantly, applications launch without hesitation, and massive projects remain responsive instead of bogged down. All of this runs on Mac OS 15, codenamed Redwood. Apple tailored the OS to fully exploit the M5's potential. Apps feel lighter, updates install quickly. Multitasking is effortless. Redwood also brings new features. Dynamic docking arranges your windows smartly as you work, and Universal Stage Manager helps you handle complex workflows. There's even a built-in AI assistant that proactively suggests actions, organizes files, and manages background tasks. It feels less like software running on hardware and more like hardware and software moving in sync. So who exactly is the Mac Mini M5 built for? The honest answer is nearly everyone. It's powerful enough for editors, developers, and designers. It's silent enough for musicians and podcasters. It's versatile enough for students and families. And it's reliable enough for businesses that need workstations they can trust. The Mini has gone from being Apple's entry-level desktop to being a full-fledged powerhouse that stands on its own. Of course, pricing matters. The starting point is $1,199. That gets you a machine that can outclass many laptops twice its price. On the other end, a fully maxed out Mini with 64 gigabytes RAM and 8 terabytes storage pushes close to $2,999. That's not cheap. But compared to Apple's other desktops, it's one of the best values in their lineup. Pair it with your own monitor and keyboard, and you've got a setup that's difficult to beat. The story of the Mac Mini used to be that of the overlooked sibling in the Apple family. In 2025, that story is being rewritten. The M5 Mini is fast, intelligent, whisper quiet, and beautifully balanced. Apple has transformed it from a background player into a machine that finally earns the spotlight.